In today's show, the Trailblazers just keep on winning. They're back at 500 this late in the season for the first time in 3 years. They've won 3 straight games. Deni Avdija is healthy. Things are looking up in Rip City. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, world? It's your past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter, Mike Richmond. You're listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Thanks for making this show your first listen, coming at you each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. So make it a part of your daily routine. Make your first listen. Tell your friends to do the same. Locked On Blazers, your team every day. In today's show, we're talking about a Trailblazers winning streak, a Trailblazers winning streak that comes with improved health, a Trailblazers winning streak that comes with victories over the hated Los Angeles Lakers and the totally tolerated Sacramento Kings, a Blazers winning streak that puts them back at 500 this late in the season for the first time since 2023. A lot of good news. We'll get into all of it. Blazers, we'll recap a couple games from the weekend. The Blazers on Saturday beat the Lakers handily at the Moda Center, and then second night of a back-to-back in Sacramento on Sunday evening, and they held off the Kings, although it got slightly exciting in the final minutes. We'll get to both those games. Deni Avdija returns from injury after missing 3 games with a back injury. The Blazers are probably going to go into their next game, which is Thursday, as healthy as they've been in months, literally months, as healthy as they've been since before Thanksgiving. It's not so bad. Not so bad here in old Rain Town. Let's start with the Laker game. Saturday night, the Blazers beat the Lakers 132-116. Lakers not with a full complement of players. No Luka Doncic, no DeAndre Ayton, nor his backup Jackson Hayes. Austin Reeves out for an extended period with a calf injury. He was not there either. LeBron James, all 41 years old of him, was available. This particular Laker team, pretty bad, and the Blazers did what you do against bad teams. There is a maturity in taking care of bad teams. Blazers were favored at tip-off. They're playing this game without Deni Avdija, obviously without some long-term injury guys, Scoot Anderson, Matisse Thybulle, Chris Murray, but importantly, they're playing without their best player, Deni Avdija. The Lakers on the season are 26th on defense, and the Blazers treated them as such. They scored 40 points in the first quarter. The first quarter was kind of mind-boggling against the Lakers. Portland, your beloved Portland Trailblazers, the Fighting Pinwheels, took 22 free throws. Let me stretch that one out a little bit. The Portland Trailblazers, in the first quarter of an NBA basketball game against the glamour franchise from Southern California, the Los Angeles Lakers, the team with the most championship banners of any in the National Basketball Association history. They employed LeBron James, the best player of the 21st century. Those two things have often led to teams that both employ LeBron James or have Lakers written across their chest of getting a perhaps advantageous whistle. The Blazers took the most free throws in a single quarter by any team in the league. And they did that without Deni Avdija on the court, one of the great foul magnets in the NBA this year. One of the best foul drawers, a true artist of getting to the free throw line. Lakers took 3. Lakers were whistled for 13 team fouls in the first quarter. Blazers 4. A bonkers game right from the start. 40-27 after 1. Lakers kind of hung around, but Blazers led by 10 at halftime, 71-61. Jeremy Grant playing his second game back after an extended absence from the middle of December, dealing with with Achilles soreness. He had 10 in the second quarter. At halftime, the Lakers' leading scorer was reserved to a big man, Drew Timme, which gives you a little bit of sense of what the Lakers were working with. But it was only a 10-point game, but the Blazers blew it open in the third quarter. Shane Sharp had 10 in the third. The Blazers hit a bunch of threes, 7 of 11. All of a sudden, they're up 17, 107-90. It kind of got close, but not actually in any meaningful way. Kobe Bufkin hit a 3 in the fourth quarter to cut it to 11 with 7 minutes left. But then Tumani nails a 3. Team's trade misses. Shaedon Sharpe nails a 3. what was an 11-point game is now back to 17 immediately after like 4 trips with 5:42 left. Lakers take a timeout. It's down 17. Okay, it's probably over, right? And then out of the timeout, the Lakers don't score. Sharp gets a layup. Then Sharp rebounds a miss, his own miss, and then finds Caleb Love cutting for a layup. And then Caleb Love hits a 3 on the next possession, and all of a sudden it's a 20-point game. The Lakers take a timeout at 3:42, exactly 2 minutes later. It was over at like the 5:45 mark. It's for sure over at the 3:45 mark. Extremely memeably over. Both teams emptied their bench in a 20-point game. We get 3 minutes and 40 seconds of garbage time. This was a 10-point game at halftime. Like I said, 10-point game at halftime. They hadn't blown them out yet, but the Blazers in the second half had a single-digit lead for a total of 11 seconds. They never threatened. The Lakers never threatened. They stomped on this team. It was not close. Shaedon Sharp, a very sort of like just a workman-like 25, right? He had kind of a quiet first half, got going in the third quarter, just kind of like leaves with 25. Mark of a good scorer is that he scores 25 points, and you're like, he had 25, hit 4 threes. When Shaedon Sharp makes threes, he's just a different player. Don McClingan at 18 and 11. You got 22 from Jeremy Grant off the bench. And then Caleb Love, 22 points. That 3 he hit at 3:42 that like signaled garbage time. Not only was it over, it was his 4th 3 of the game, which not always, but typically means the Blazers are going to win the game. It finally failed. But Love continues just to be like darn useful. 22 off the bench, and they cruise. They beat a bad team. It was a taking care of business. That version of the Lakers is not good. I think the Blazers winning without Deni is like a notable and important thing for them to do. But if you think they're actually good, they need to be able to beat a team that had as much talent available as the Lakers without their best player. They not only beat them, they beat the snot out of them. Someone I talked to after the game called it a game that was far too adjudicated. I agree. There was too many whistles, too many complaints, too many challenges. It was like too much. It was just a sloppy kind of gross game, but it was kind of a sloppy and gross game because the Blazers were just beating the snot out of the Lakers. The first quarter was just absolutely bonkers. Just a true like anomaly of officiating that you may never see again. Hold it close in your hearts. But like just a messy bad Lakers team that the Blazers treated like a messy bad Lakers team. It's just get out of here. It was not close. Not a non-competitive second half because the Blazers never let it be competitive. A absolutely TCB taking care of business victory, and then they have to go play another game less than 24 hours later. At a 6:00 tip-off in Sacramento. Get on an airplane, go play some basketball. But the good news as we move on. That's your fast recap on the West for the Lakers game. As we move on to the Kings game, Blazers are second night of back-to-back, so everybody gets injury management right out of the game. No Drew Holiday, who played against the Lakers. He's kind of anonymous, but he's fine. He plays his positive minutes, usually better than his box score. Jeremy Grant, who was good against the Lakers, doesn't play. Injury management. They're going to hold him out with the Achilles injury. Rob Williams, who played against the Lakers and had 8 points and 6 boards. Injury management. He doesn't play in the second night of back-to-backs. They chose to play him against the Lakers and not against the Kings. So all those dudes are sitting. But after a 3-game absence, Deni Avdija returns. The Blazers have won 2 in a row. They've won 2 in a row kind of easily, like double-digit wins. They pulled, like the bench helped them pull away from the Hawks. Then then they just kind of like out talent the Lakers, just like, you're just not better than us. We're going to make shots and you're not going to win this game. And like now you're playing a Kings team that's not good. A Kings team now getting Domantas Sabonis back, his second game back after a long absence. Blazers go 2-1 without Deni. Those are nice wins. The loss that they didn't have Deni was also no Jeremy Grant and Drew Holiday's first game back, just like a tough one. But the Kings present with Deni back in the lineup. They're a bad basketball team. Don't get it twisted. They have some name recognition, but they're one of the worst teams in the NBA. Even with Domantas Sabonis, I'll just call it now. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA. They suck. They can't defend anyone. They don't shoot enough threes. They don't play a modern version of basketball. They're bad. But the Blazers have squeaked by them twice, and second night of a back-to-back. Kings have won 4 in a row though. They're heading for a 5-game winning streak. So, like, despite all of my hating that you just heard come out of my mouth, like, This is probably the best version of that the Kings have been all year long. They are missing Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray, who are like the only two players that I think you would like readily associate with defense. They give those assignments now to like Precious Achiuwa and Nick Clifford. And surprisingly, they're also a bad defensive basketball team. I can't believe that if Precious Achiuwa and Nick Clifford are your defensive aces, they're not very good. But they're getting Sabonis back, like, you know, you're super shorthanded without JG and Drew and Rob, even with Deni back in the lineup. This is heading into the Laker game. I thought like, like the Blazers are going to win. This Laker team stinks. They were betting favorites in that game as well. Like this version of the Lakers with like the starting center is Maxi Kleber and the backup center is Drew Timme. It's like this just isn't a good enough NBA basketball team to like to be truly threatened, right? And like 41-year-old LeBron is not the LeBron of the prior, say, 22 seasons. He finally got old. But like going in the Kings game, the Kings were slight favorites on FanDuel heading into the game. 1.5 as at tip off. Like, yeah, this one seemed like it was maybe a little more in the balance, and I thought the Blazers to win this game, another professional win. We'll talk about everything that happened in that game in the second segment. Join me there, won't ya? First, though, let's talk about the aforementioned FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season. 1, it's Friday. 2, it's basketball season. 2 wonderful things. And FanDuel's making them even better every Friday night. Before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. It's a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. It's from 6 to 7:30 Eastern. That is 3 to 4:30 Pacific time. And then you just open the FanDuel app during that window, and the Happy Hour is going to bring you all types of new things, boosts, bonuses, surprises. You can also check the weekly specials before those games tip off and then make your move before the window closes. Timing's perfect. It's right before the game start and right before the weekend start. So if you're an NBA fan, before tip off, check the FanDuel app. You're an NBA fan. You're listening to this podcast. Check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern. That's 3 to 4:30 Pacific time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel. All right. Thanks for making this show your first listen every day. And if you really do live that everyday lifestyle, go sign up for the Locked On Everydayer Club. $5 a month or $50 a year. You get an ad-free version of this podcast, plus access to the members-only Discord, where you get to chat with me and your fellow Blazer fans, plus some other members-only bonuses. It's Locked On Blazers with no interruptions. Check it out. Locked On Blazers. .supercast.com or check the link in the show notes. Okay, Blazers beat the Kings on Sunday, run their winning streak to 3 games. Deni Avdija returns. This ball game was tied at 32 apiece. They're shorthanded, tied at 32 apiece after the first quarter, and part of that was because Shane Sharp picked up 3 fouls in the first less than 6 minutes. Subs out at 5:51. 3 fouls right away. So then they had to play this end of quarter lineup with the 3 two-way guys: Caleb Love, Sidi Sissoko, and Javonte Cook. Welcome, Javonte. Like Sidi and Caleb Love play every night, and the Blazers lean on them heavily in order to win games. Those guys are not surprising in the lineup. But Javonte Cook, okay, wow, all 3 of them, huh? Ryan Rupert and Donovan Clingan. Sidi, C-Love, Javonte Cook, Roops, and Clingan. There's a 5-man group, but so they kind of gave away some of the lead. But Deni Avdija shows up and has 15 in the first quarter, dog. Like, oh, he's fine. He's fine. You know, you kind of thought, like, what's he going to be like coming back from this back injury? It's clear that it wasn't like a really serious injury, right? Because like he was immediately switched from out to doubtful. We never got like a long sort of like Deni Avdija had blah, blah, blah. L5, like, you know, some like scary back terminology stuff. It's just like, yeah, he's going to miss the first game. Now he's doubtful for a couple games. Now he's back, questionable back in the lineup, right? So it's like, it's clear that it wasn't like a super serious injury. He only missed a little bit of time. But the fact that he just like comes back and has 15 in the first quarter and just like controlling the game. Not only 15 in the first quarter, but like making plays, like just like, you know, throwing the ball all over the yard. He didn't have any assists till the second quarter, but he really got rolling. He was awesome. And you know, hit an off ball corner 3 early, and just like, yeah, he's going to be fine. Kings turned the ball over 10 times in the first half, and the Blazers take an 11-point lead in the halftime because Deni Avdija scores another 5 in the second quarter. He's got 20 at halftime. Tumani's got 15 at the break. Like they're they are rolling, right? Like Deni had 5 dimes in the second quarter. Like he goes into half with 25 and 5. That is 20 points, 5 of rebounds, 5 assists. If Deni had last season a 25 and 5 game, right? 20 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, we'd be like, yeah, man, he's really taking these steps forward. He's doing all this. And when he has this in the first half against the Kings, I just thought to myself, of course he did. Of course he did. Of course he did. The Kings are not good. And Deni Avdija is very good. He's going to make an all-star team. He's probably not going to be named an all-star starter when they're announced on Monday, but he's going to be on the all-star team soon. Dude is an absolute hooper. And the Blazers up 11. But they don't really put the game away. Shaedon Sharpe, who had a bunch of foul trouble in the first half and just didn't play that much, played not even 13 minutes in the first half, comes out and has 14 in the third quarter. I thought he was really just like assertive early. Kings were throwing some double teams at Shaedon Sharpe, which I think is an interesting wrinkle because he's not a great passer and he is looking to score. I think that is an interesting wrinkle to get away with, but I thought Sharpe handled the double team right away. Like the first play of the second half, he handled one very poorly, turned the ball over. And then I thought after that, he really was assertive. And then he was also aware of the double teams, attacking early, getting out, pushing down court and getting downhill before off those brush screens. Blazers run a early high screen on basically every possession. Those taking those brush screens in transition as they are known, and just attacking. I thought he had a crazy step back against DeMar DeRozan going to his left. I thought Shea was a professional scoring third quarter. He was just yep, I know what I'm here to do. I didn't really get a chance to do it in the first half. I'm going to do it now, and he did. Blazers maintained that lead up 11 heading into the fourth. It got a little bit dicey. Kings finally get as close as 7, as close as they've been with just under 3 minutes. But then Dylan Cardwell misses a floater. This is the Kings backup center who's playing a bunch of minutes because Domantas Sabonis, he's on a minutes limit, and I just don't understand when teams do this, right? He played 20 minutes the other night, against the Wizards, played 21 minutes. He played 20 minutes tonight. Clearly his minutes limit is at 20. He didn't play the final 10 minutes of the game. Just save his minutes. I don't know why Dylan Cardwell's out in the game. It's truly, it's some of this stuff with NBA coaching is truly puzzling. I digress though. Dylan Cardwell bricks a floater, 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. The Blazers, they might survive here. They don't score. And then Zach LaVine gets all the way to the rim and gets blocked by Klingon. They call goaltend. Live, it looked clean. They immediately challenge it. It is clean indeed. Great block by Klingon. Blazers get the ball back. Seems like they've dodged a bullet. 2 minutes left. 7-point lead. Shaedon Sharpe hits a huge floater, nice floater, deep in the, not that deep into the paint, but in traffic. Didn't get all the way to the rim, and still really nice touch to knock it down. Put back up 9 with under 2 minutes to go. You feel like, oh yeah, they're going to be fine, but DeMar DeRozan gets fouled, hits a free throw. Sharpe turns the ball over. Malik Monk hits a transition 3. All of a sudden, it's a 5-point game with a minute left. Blazers run some clock. Sharpe misses at the rim. Strong drive to the rim. A lot of contact. I think it's fine. I think good no call. Kings have the ball down 5 with 40 seconds left. Malik Monk, who just hit a 3, gets a really good look from the left wing and super brick, just a nasty missed wide open 3. Blazers again run some clock. Sharpe again misses at the rim. First one seemed closer to a foul than the second one. Second one was just legitimately good defense by Cardwell. That's why he's in the game and not Sabonis, I guess. And the Kings get to push the other way, and Russell Westbrook gets fouled in transition and goes to the free throw line in a 5-point game with 18 seconds left. Chance to cut it to 3. They're still going to have to play the foul game, but it's going to get dicey. Russell Westbrook misses the first free throw. Makes a second. 4-point game. Kings have to foul. Deni hits both. Pushes it to 6. Kings keep fouling in order to boost the fantasy stats of Shaedon Sharpe and Deni Avdija, and that's your ball game. Got a little sweaty there in the final 2 minutes, but the Kings never really never had the ball with a chance to tie or take the lead. Blazers win 117-110. That's your fast recap in the West. Deni Avdija finishes with 30 points, 8 boards, 8 assists. He only had 10, 3, and 3 in the second half. Slacker. Shaedon Sharpe, after, just somewhat limited in the first half. Again, just a professional scoring night. 27, 7 boards. Hit 3 of 9 threes, which for him, I don't love him taking 9 threes, but the only one that I really didn't like him taking, he cashed out from the left wing, and it was a great shot. So I can't be too mad at him. Donovan Klingon was awesome in the fourth quarter. He scored the first 10 points of the first quarter for the Blazers and like really set the tone. The Kings were too small. Cardwell was too small to be in the game. That's why you use up Domantas Sabonis' minutes before crunch time, so you can make sure to put an overmatched third string center on the court when you're trying to win. That's how you coach him up. Donovan Clingan, 21 and 17 rebounds. He was awesome. 17 from Tumani on perfect shooting. He had 15 in the first half. He was he didn't score a bunch after halftime, but also didn't miss any shots. He was really good. Blazers did this with a quiet night from Caleb Love, 3 of 10 on 0 4 shooting. They were able to overcome without the magic of Love. In fact, they didn't really get much from their bench. Young Hansen came in at 2 points. I thought he had a really nice moment in his first shift. He had a little left-handed bucket and then had a steal, like tracking back in transition, and then threw an awesome hit-ahead pass to Tumani. Like, just the feel and the comfort throwing that pass is awesome. And then I thought, other than that sequence, I thought Hansen was like pretty much, I would call it bad. That's how I would describe the way he played. Anonymous night from Duop Reith, but just, 30 from Deni, 27 from Sharp, 21 and 17 from Clingan. Tumani has a great game. And just, they held off the Kings. They just keep doing this. They just win basketball games. And at this point, I am both surprised at where they are and yet sitting in this moment, I believe it. I have no trouble believing that this is where they are. Which is a weird place for me, someone who thinks about and talks about the team, to kind of, I'm having trouble placing what I actually think about them, because I am both like stunned that they're 22 and 22 this part of the season, and also like having sat with those first 44 games very closely, right? Like in close proximity to them. This doesn't feel that surprising in the, like, considering where they've been. But if you zoom out a little bit, it seems kind of stunning. They're both meeting expectations and then also blowing them out of the water, like just absolutely beating those expectations down, saying, what are you talking about? But also like meeting them right where you thought they would be, because I thought they would beat the Kings or the Lakers. I just went into that game thinking they would win, and I was like, yeah, the Kings are very good. I bet they'll win this game too. They've got a special kind of magic, and I want to talk about that to close the show. Join me in that third segment, and we will do just that. First, though, let's talk game time. It's basketball season, and there's nothing like being in the building. The energy of the crowd, the first big run that gets the team going, the final 4 minutes when your team pulls out a win. If you're a fan, you want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. So what I like about using Game Time is that browsing is super quick, super simple, super intuitive. You type in the name of the venue that you would like to go to an event. Say it is the Moda Center to see the Portland Trail Blazers later this week when they got a couple home games. The Moda Center comes up in the app, and what you see is what you get pricing. So whatever you see right there while you're scrolling around, if you want to sit close, if you want to sit in the, somewhere in the 200 level, if you want to sit upstairs in 300 levels, like you just want to get in the building, whatever you see on that screen right there is going to be what you pay at checkout. You can take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. You got to download the Game Time app. That's step one. Create an account. That's going to be your second step. And then the third step, this is the big one. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You got $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Use that redeem code, LOCKEDONNBA. You're going to get $20 off. Game Time. It's your place for NBA tickets. Still a pass first point guard. I'm still Mike Richmond, and you are still listening to Locked On Blazers. You are. You're probably enjoying it, because that's what we do. We're talking about Blazers wins. All the time, every game, they seem to win games. They're 22 and 22. They haven't been 500 this late in the season since February of 2023. It's been almost 3 full years since they've been this competitive this late into the season. A friend texted me on Saturday after the Laker game. Said, like, I told you this team was going to be special. I felt it going into the year. And I said, yeah, but not like this. And they said, yeah, okay, nothing like this. Of course not like this. Because like, let's be real. Like I'm not talking betting markets and whatever here. I'm talking locally, like you, dear listener, Blazer fan, and those associated, I guess, like Blazer fan and like my dad. That's who's listening to this. Shout out, and maybe my uncle too. Various members of my family and Blazer fans. But like, if you did locally, like I would say like totally anecdotally, but also like a pretty big anecdote. Maybe 40 people, right, that I chatted with here and there before the year started. Everybody thought this team was like between 37 wins and 43 wins. Maybe there were some people who thought like, they do have the talent to win 45 games. And there were some people who were like, I don't know, they might win 35 games. But like the vast majority of people thought this team would hover around just above or just below 500. 37 to 43, pretty common range, right? Like everybody thought this team would be that. So the fact that they are 22 and 22 in January, that's not that big of a surprise. The fact that they're the 9th best team in the West is not that big of a surprise, because if you would talk to Blazer fans about this team in fall, you would have said, yeah, of course, that's about right. It's about right. Like, I think on Dirt and Sprague's radio show, they had a bunch of media members on, and everybody said the Blazers would win 37, 38, or 39 games. So like the quote-unquote experts. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy. I got a microphone. You can get one of these. I bought it on a popular internet retailer. But like you can... Actually, I probably bought it on... Shout out to Sweetwater. That's probably where I bought this microphone. But like the way this has... the way the cake looks when it's... Now that it is totally frosted and it's got the candles on it, of course it looks this way. You kind of knew what it was going to be. But the fact that they did this without a single second of Scoot Henderson, the fact that they did this without quite any at all of Matisse Thybulle, right? 4 games, parts of 4 games. Drew Holiday missed 25 plus games. Jeremy Grant's missed 15 games. Like the core 4, the sort of like guys that are going to build with moving forward of, minus Scoot, but Shaedon Sharpe, Deni Avdija, Toumani Camara, and Donovan Clingan, those guys have been steady presences in the lineup. But, at the beginning of the year, like part of the sort of optimism about this team that I was maybe, as I can do from time to time, maybe was a little more skeptical than most. I was like, everyone's like, this team's really deep. And I was like, I don't know. And I was wrong, right? I was wrong. This team is deeper than I thought they were, but not in the way you thought they were either, dear listener, because you weren't telling me that Caleb Love and Sidi Sissoko were going to be like totally viable rotation players. That's not what we were talking about in the fall, right? That's not what we were talking about. So, like, in so many ways, like, obviously, like, so much of this is just like Deni Avdija has taken what is in some ways an unprecedented jump. I'm sure it has some precedent here and there, but it is not a lot of dudes who have taken the jump from being like pretty darn good 17 a game scorer to like scores 25, has 25, 7 and 7, and looks like LeBron James when he does it. Like it's just that obviously is the biggest thing that's happened. But the fact that they have all this functional depth, right? Shaedon Sharpe hasn't taken the leap Deni has, not even close, right? Not even close. They're not in that's not the same type of thing. But the fact that he is the steady improvement, you kind of thought that would happen. Donovan Clingan, I've been a pretty big believer in Donovan Clingan's just sort of like competency, right? Like I've been critical of his offensive game a lot of times on this show. In fact, even recently to his face when I told him that I did not see him making 3-pointers, and since then he's just kind of stopped making them. Except he hit one tonight. I felt better about that because did he get the Locked On Blazers curse? But like in the way that Clingan has taken steps, very believable. The way that Shaedon Sharpe's taken steps, very believable. Deni Avdija is like this outlier, like in terms of his improvement. But then the way that they've just found ways to get it done, and their freaking coach got arrested on the first night of the season, and they're playing with, an assistant and an assistant that was coveted. Sounds like reasonably coveted across the league, but like nonetheless, an acting head coach who kind of like was dropped, airdropped into the job by. Redacted. He was given the job, just because he seemed like the right guy, and he does really seem like the right guy now. Doesn't it seem like a pretty good choice that Tiago Splitter is the guy, making these choices? And like another sort of of course it's this way, but it's not this way type of thing. It's like, I thought this was going to be like the 7th best defense in the NBA. And it's like, yeah, they're the 24th or 25th best offense. They really struggle, but they just lock teams up. And that's how they win games. And that isn't it. They've basically been a below average defense all year. They're winning because like they're kind of like not terrible on either end. And actually like more recently, their offense has been a lot better than their defense. If you had said to sort of average Blazer fan heading into the All-Star break, they'll be at 500 or a game or two over, they would say, yeah, that sounds right? And that could be a thing that happens. But if you had told them Scoot Henderson won't have played a single second, right? Like he won't have played a single second. And Matisse Thybulle won't be the person propping up the defense because he also doesn't participate. And like the Blazers will be relying on two-way guys who play every single night and are going to demand NBA contracts is going to like force them to cut other of their deep bench players in order to address it, right? Like the way that they've got here, it just is kind of mind-boggling. It is as mind-boggling as taking 22 free throws against LeBron James and the Lakers. It's more so, right? It's just impossible to believe that this is the way they got here. But then part of you thinks like that they should have been here all along. I think like that if you zoom out and getting back to this weekend to close here, like I think what I am having, I don't know, trouble isn't the right word, but like what is kind of warping my thoughts or like spinning around in my head is maybe the best way to say that, is like, I don't think the Blazers are like world beaters, right? Like I'm probably still, certainly there's fans out there that are way more like bullish on what they're going to be in the next 2 months than I am, right? I think they're like, I think they've really played well and figured some stuff out this season, but also like, going into the last 2 games, like this weekend's games against the Lakers and the Kings, I thought they would win. Like I had no doubt in my mind they'd beat that bad Lakers team. And I was fairly confident, albeit like less capital C confident, they'd beat the Kings team. So it's like they're playing without Deni in game 1. They're playing without useful vets and Grant and Drew and Rob in game 2. And like, in both situations, they're relying on young players, deep bench, and in both situations, I'm going into these games, and I am, if you listen to the show, and I bet you do, if you made it this far into the program, like I am pretty skeptical, like in general, like that's just I sort of maybe to a fault, but like I am who I am. And in both these games, I thought like, yeah, they're going to win. They're going to win. So shorthanded, no-handed, one-legged, 2 toes, whatever they've been this season, they have kind of found themselves in this place where I just think when there is a huge chunk of the league that I feel very confident that they'll beat. And that's a pretty cool place to be here in the last week and a half of January, 2 weeks really. In the last, we're in mid-January and you kind of feel like, yes, against something like a third of the NBA, you expect the Blazers to win, or at least like, probably about that. Probably about a third of the league. They walk into the arena, you would expect them to win. Expect them to win. And that's with all the injuries and all the chaos and everything that's happened. And here they are. And here's the fun thing. Thursday, when they get back in the gym, finally, they're going to they get Monday off because MLK Day, and it's like it's a big NBA day, but it's like a specific slate. And then they have Tuesday and Wednesday off. They have 3 full days off, so they won't do anything on Monday because it's the second night of a back-to-back, or it's coming off a back-to-back. So they will travel back, fly back from Sacramento. They'll have Monday off. Tuesday they could be an obvious practice day, but with the way they're beat up, they're not actually going to practice. Like they're not going to get out there and run around and have a real physical practice. They're going to walk through stuff and they'll have more time in the gym, but they're going to have 3 days off. And then when they get back into the gym, like the same thing on Wednesday, unlikely Tuesday would be the real day that you would practice, but unlikely that Wednesday would be a big physical practice. They get back in the gym Thursday. They host the Miami Heat, the first of 2 at home. They close the week with Miami and Toronto. They're going to be as healthy as they've been since prior to Thanksgiving. and they're 22-22, and they just keep on winning, and they've won 3 in a row, and they've got their best player back in the lineup, and he immediately looks like their best player, no hesitation. They have met the expectations we set for them in unexpected ways, and now they have a chance to blast through at least my own and probably many of yours, just by virtue of just having more and better players available in the second half of this season. Quite a run here in Rip City. We all saw this coming. All of us saw this coming. Just not like this. That's going to do it for today's show. Come back. More shows this week. That's what we do 5 days a week, wherever you get podcasts, also on YouTube. Go join the Locked On Everydayers Club. There's a link in the show notes to this episode. Tell your friends about the program. I appreciate you listening. I will talk to you soon.